I think we're live.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just get one more thing. And welcome, everyone. I'm Alfred Lamont Weber. It's a great pleasure once again to be with scientist Chris Burres and CEO Patty Greer of C60 Evo, developers of ESS 60, a new evolution in science, I would say, and a superfood, which I enjoy. And so I've got some news to report, which is news for me, but I'm first going to turn it over to you, Chris, and over to Patty.
Alfred, so great to be back. I'm looking at your luscious locks. You have really long hair that looks amazing. It's the first time I think I've seen your hair down, so that's kind of cool. Glad to be here. I've got some things to share as we kind of get further into the show. Probably we'll talk about some maybe different products. I don't know what Patty has on planned, but I'm excited to be back here.
Great. Yeah. Welcome back. And Patty's here and tell me.
We do have new products coming out, very exciting. And, you know, with what all of us have gone through as a country, as a world, with the recent disease, a lot of people are having after effects. And we want to boost our immune system for sure, number one. C60 Evo is 172 times more powerful than vitamin C. But we are also hearing that people are having hair loss, me being one. I don't know if you guys have experienced it, but very soon we are going to have a 3-part hair comeback system. And we've already been working on the facial products. We're coming out immediately soon with our brand new 2-step facial youth renewal that is even better, which I can't believe I'm saying, but it's not even better. I'm going to say it's got a different direction, but what it's done is remove most of my wrinkles and fine lines. This is what we put on at night. That's got, it's the C60 Evo Advanced Facial Serum. And this has just been selling like crazy because it works. It smells divine. It's got 21 natural ingredients. But like Chris said, we're moving into new products for a new world with new needs.
Indeed. Indeed. Well, I would like to share my news, and as a user, so I'm here as a consumer and sharing my, I guess, endorsement and experience. And I've got 2 things that I'd like to share. And of course, you know, we would say, well, this is important, but I'll let you judge. And that is that, number one, my physician, MD, on our great Canadian health system. I mean, that's the one thing that we have here. We have Canadian health system. I won't say the other thing that we have because that'll get me in trouble. He said that I have the hemoglobin of a 25-year-old man. Now, hemoglobin has to do with the oxygen in the blood, I believe. And that is directly related, I believe, to C60, because, you know, you've got the buckyball is going through there and is really expanding all of the oxygen going through the blood. And I believe that future research, since I'm a futurist, that's my profession, will show that all of the super focus, et cetera, has to do with the hemoglobin and oxygenated blood that carbon-60 is given. And so that's one thing. And the other thing I have to report is that I'm putting all the hairdressers and barbers in British Columbia out of business. I'm sorry, but that's something that happens when you take carbon-60. No, it's a joke. Look at this. It's supposed to promote hair growth, right? Well, I haven't been this way since I was a freelancer in Europe covering the women's peace camp movement in Belgium and in Switzerland. When I crossed into Switzerland, the Swiss border guards said, "Oh, Rasputin, huh?" But isn't that amazing? Don't you think? I mean,
Yeah.
it's very, and Native Americans, you were saying this is really psychic antenna. I was reading an article the other day that in World War II, the US Army hired Native Americans as guides.
Right.
Because they were so good. But then they enforced it to begin with the standard US Army buzz cut. But then the Native American guys lost their powers because they cut off their psychic antenna. So they had to stop that and allow the Native Americans' hair to grow so they would get their psychic antenna back. So anyway, that's a long way of saying that if you want the hemoglobin of a 25-year-old man and you're growing into adulthood and you want to have this, and you want a lot of psychic juice, hey, I can give a testimonial on both of those. And I have a certificate from the Harvard School of Public Health. So, I can say halfway intelligent things about that. So over to you guys.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it sounds what we're hearing more and more are just testimonials across the board. And so improvements in hair, that's not really a surprise. Improvements in skin, that's actually why we made the original face serum. And improvements in nail, that, skin, hair, and nail all go together. And we've got lots of testimonials of people talking about nails growing faster, they're being stronger as they're coming in. So all of those things aren't a surprise. In fact, really kind of led us to the second big product, which was the facial serum. And then you're talking about hair growth. You look at skin improvements, you look at hair growth as testimonials from people who are actually consuming the product. And then you start looking at really, I feel like I've done a pretty good job of surrounding me with very intuitive and intelligent people like Patty, who come to me and say, "Hey, we really do need to do a face serum." I never really wanted to be a face serum guy, but she convinces me, and so we put this product on the market. And I thought, okay, this will be something else to sell, and I believe in the ingredients. And it's just performed. It's out. The testimonials that we're getting on that face serum have just so eclipsed what I ever anticipated. Because frankly, I just didn't anticipate much. Again, I know they're high quality ingredients. I just was not in the face serum industry and didn't know what was going to come from that. And then you fast forward again, surrounding myself. I've got our director of research comes to us and says, "Hey, there's this molecule," and we actually call it UTH29. There's this molecule that has 30 years of research in improvements in skin and hair, and that's skin healing, skin health, skin youthfulness, hair length, hair color, hair thickness, all of these things for 30 years. Maybe this is a molecule we should look at. And so I looked at the research and I'm like, this is something that we probably should try. Let's put it in both in a lotion so that we can apply it to skin, and we'll also put it in a gel so we can apply it to hair. And again, so just to give some perspective, Patty came and she created the formula and she delivered the formula. It exceeded my expectations. Yep. And then I turned around and gave her my own skin formula. Right. Oh. So you're just going to inherently have this. You made this one and mine has to be better. And I'm actually very grateful. Yeah, I'm actually very grateful to Patty to being open. Kudos to you, because it's better in different ways, and you acknowledge that better in different ways. And so now, really, we had always intended for the face serum to be applicable at night, all right, and may even change the label at some point to be advanced night facial serum or something like that. And now we can add this new UTH29 molecule with the ESS60 molecule, and just get, you know, the people that Patty's been able to give it to, that we've been testing it with, again, are just raving about the results of this product.
Well, for me, it's not about me having the best product or being right at all. For us, it's about what's the best products. And I love having partners that are scientists with a lab that's always open. Not always, but you know, that they're open to trying different things. This was a great surprise. And at first I wasn't really sure what you were talking about with two, and you mix it in your hand. But now that I've had it explained to me, it's pretty wonderful why we've got the activator, little rose essence, and you can see how low it is. I'm ready to get more. And then this amazing with copper peptide, it's the cream, the Youth 29 cream, UTH 29. And it's this really interesting blue, oopsie, like copper. You know, so you take that, you put a few drops of the rose oil, and you mix it on your fingertips and rub onto your face. And I've been doing circles up like this. And the first 2 weeks I said to Chris, I don't know, 2 products, more expensive. Yeah, I don't know. And then a week later I called him and I said, what the heck? All of a sudden, like my old lady lines, I'm always leaning into the camera. The sides of my mouth are really different. Like I had a lot of wrinkles going on. And God bless you. You guys at the lab, you knocked it out of the park. So I just designed the new labels and came up with a new name, which is C60 Evo Youth Renew, YOUTH, even though it's UTH 29. But I want Chris to explain the interesting reason that you're going to have to mix it fresh in your fingers to put it on right away. So go with that, Chris, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is something new, right? We kind of looked across the market because it was an idea we had. We had some good reasons for the idea. And anytime you have an idea, you're like, well, maybe it just won't land well. Like maybe we'll suggest this or we'll put this product together and consumers won't be interested. And what we kind of looking across the industry realized that there isn't any kind of product out there where you tend to mix things together to actually have like an activator right before you apply it to your face. We also found, which I didn't know because I didn't pay attention kind of in the face care area, is that a lot of women will actually mix different components anyway, right? So they will actually mix stuff in their hand, or they'll put one lotion here and another lotion in another spot for different types of skin. And so it makes very much sense to have multiple products going onto the face. And then ultimately, what we have here is the UTH 29 molecule is actually water soluble. So it's in a water soluble lotion. And then of course the ESS60, we're kind of familiar, it's oil based. And anytime you're putting water based and oil based together, you bump into a problem. And the problem in our case would be if you were to stick this in one bottle, just like oil and water, you would actually get this separation. And if you've got a thick lotion, which you want a decently thick lotion to apply to your face, then, you know, there's some shaking process. And frankly, it just wasn't going to work. So the next step is this traditional method, the method that, you know, all of the manufacturers of facial products use, is to use what's called an emulsifier. Now, if emulsifier doesn't sound nice and healthy and natural, I think you're right. Like we tend to agree. In fact, I've got I kind of pulled up some summary summations of emulsifiers. Time magazine says emulsifiers create the ideal conditions for triggering colon cancer in mice. Yeah, that's not what I'm shooting for in a product. Next is the NIH said eating a common type of food additive called emulsifiers can harm the gut microbiome, increasing gut permeability, commonly known as leaky gut, which a lot of people are coming to understand that they suffer from. So yeah, emulsifiers are something that we'd like to stay away from. And we know our customers would like to stay away from. So we ended up with this process where you actually squirt the lotion into your palm, and it's usually about 2 squirts. And then you use 2 drops of the ESS60 activator and mix it right there in your hand. So you'll make a nice little emulsion. That's why those things are called emulsifiers, without the use of an emulsion, because that emulsion just really, the emulsifiers actually stabilize in an emulsion. So you create this little emulsion right in your hand and you apply it to your face. And again, the testimonials, we're talking about natural product, natural ingredients, amazing molecule UTH29, another amazing molecule ESS60, and now it's a product that we're hoping will be out really soon.
Very good. Yeah.
Like in a week or 2.
Amazing. I'm sort of focused on health. How are the testimonials on health? I mean, by health, I mean inside as opposed to outside.
Oh yeah,
I guess is my kind of beat.
I can give you some recent ones, and then actually with the conversation I had the latter part of last week. But before we do that, we've talked a little bit about testimonials and improvements. We really do want to add the FDA has not evaluated our products. Our products are not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease. And then I like to say, anytime we're talking about testimonials, we like this chain of command of what is it? Chain of control, so that we can trace back to the individual who actually either wrote the testimonial on Google or actually had a conversation with us and then shared an email. And those are the only kind of testimonials that I'll share. I was having a conversation with a lady. She had me on kind of pins and needles because she was going to share with me her results, but she wouldn't share with me prior any of her results. And she started off talking about having a Labrador who would chew its paw. And I had sent her some dog product, of course, having a Labrador that would chew its paw until it was raw. And that she had visited the vet and they had tried omega-3s, omega-6s, whatever they could give to the dog. The poor dog was just continuing to gnaw on its paw. 2 days after taking our dog product, she noticed that her dog had stopped gnawing on its paw, right? So again, what I love about dog testimonials is there's no placebo happening with the dog. And in fact, her next testimonial is, you could argue, a significant lack of placebo possibility. But there's no placebo with pets. Like, they don't think, oh, I had that dropper of whatever oil that my master just got me, and so today I'm not going to chew my paw, or today I'm going to be friskier, or whatever it is that they're going to do as a dog. They just feel that way and they do it because of what they've consumed. In her next testimonial, I thought was really powerful. She said that every year she will go out and do weeding in her yard, and she doesn't know what she's allergic to, but she'll have a reaction. And the reaction is typically a 3-week-long reaction and actually will blister. So it's a severe enough allergic reaction to blister. She applied our face serum to that location a couple of times a day. The reaction only lasted 10 days instead of 3 weeks. And it never blistered, right? So you're talking about, the benefits. And that's why we say, like, this face serum is an amazing product in and of itself, and will continue to be part of my skincare regimen, which, by the way, I never had a skincare regimen until we started inventing facial serums and renewal kits.
Yeah, it's an impressive product. And I think what's impressive is that you can see the results quickly. That's what sells people is, the people that are talking about it. If they're taking the product, look at them. What do you think of their skin? What do you think of their awakeness? If we're talking about, I take the product every day, I put it on my face every day. Well, if I was covered in yucky skin, I'd say, yeah, no, thanks. Or if I couldn't speak clearly, I'd say, yeah, well, later. But I think that Alfred just turning 80 and on to his next book. I mean, one after another, he's unstoppable. And I think that I've seen such an evolution in you since you started taking our products. And I know that for myself, I think that they've kept me alive when I've been through some really challenging times. So you've got choices of 3 different flavors, but all of us seem to be taking the olive oil because it's the strongest. It's the one that was used in all the lab tests, of which there have been very few. But the one that's most important is the Paris Bhakti study, and they used our formulation. And they tested 3 different groups of lab rats called Wistar rats. And not only did they test them for toxicity, it wasn't toxic, but the rats that took the ESS60 and olive oil formulation, same as this bottle, lived 90% longer than the other rats. Really phenomenal. It's the longest longevity study on lab animals in history with C60 Evo. It won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1996. It's had a history of a pretty solid flow of integrity and success. And Chris and Robert, when they were in their early 20s in college, not on a dare, but on a suggestion from a professor, invented a huge metal machine that burns graphite rods at the heat of the sun to create C60. And they've been doing it 31 years, selling to research institutions around the world. And lucky me, with my big mouth and kind of an audience of all different kinds of people that are curious, but they trust me because I don't know how to lie, don't need to, hooked up with Chris and Robert. And we've just got this really happening business that just has been effortless because they've been doing it 31 years. I've been, looking for remedies, but all I am is a walking testimonial. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I give all that to Chris to talk about. All I know is testimonials. Wow, this stuff works. That's all I can say. It really works. And Chris was always talking about, for lunch, he'd put the avocado oil in his salad. Ooh, that sounds good. And then he'd put the coconut oil first thing in the morning in his coffee. But coconut oil only holds 0.35 milligrams per milliliters of C60, whereas olive oil holds more than twice that much at 0.8 to 0.86 milligrams per milliliters, avocado 0.6. So this has a lot less. So I take twice as much because now I'm completely hooked on the MCT coconut oil in my morning coffee. Number one, I never forget to take it. But I had a question and somebody else asked me and I said, oh gosh, I'm not really sure. Chris, can you answer me? When you make your cup of coffee with the ESS60 MCT, does it float on the bottom or does it float on the top or does it sink to the bottom? Because some of us don't finish our cup of coffee and I'm always thinking, oh gosh, did I get all my ESS60? And somebody else asked me and I thought, yeah, I mean, sometimes I'm just like, the dregs just so. What do you think? Float?
Oh, it floats. Definitely. Yeah. So yeah, MCT will float on coffee. And if you just pour it on there, if I recall correctly, because I've enjoyed one of your ginormous mug o coffee when we visited together. I think you're putting the whipped cream with it, right? The whipped milk with it. And if you just do a quick test and just put a couple drops on top of coffee all by itself, you'll see it floats. Yes. Even if you blend it or mix it or whatever, at the end of the day, it's going to float to the top. And I do blend mine. I actually do the full on, bulletproof coffee experience where I've got a teaspoon and a half of ghee, a teaspoon and a half of our MCT product, and then blend that up. But, if it sets for any period of time, it's going to ultimately end up with the MCT and ghee on the top and the water, the coffee that's water based on the bottom.
Awesome. Thank you.
Chris, I have a question that kind of occurred to me, and perhaps you would be the ideal person that might know the answer. How was it that in the history of the development of C60 that it eventuated into a human health and wellness supplement?
Yeah, that's a great question. There was understanding very early on that this had, at a minimum, the potential for some significant health benefits. And the reality is, in general, when we look at molecules and different kind of adjuncts to molecules that are going to have a health impact, really we're hoping for significant improvements, and that's what we seem to be seeing here in this case. As early as as 1991, I think there's a patent related to the carbon 60 molecule actually inhibiting the replication of the AIDS virus. So as an antiviral, even back then, there's something about the size of the molecule and the way it fits in with the proteins of the actual AIDS virus, so that it's unable to replicate. So effectively killing the virus. And then early on, it was theorized, and this is still out there and not off of the table. It's just so extremely expensive. If you introduce different molecules, it turns out that the cage. I'm holding up a picture, actually a model of the really, we call it ESS60 molecule, and it turns out that there's room enough inside of this soccer ball cage for any atom on the periodic chart to fit inside of it. It's also true that a lot of the chemistry that we are familiar with in biology actually does work on the exterior of this soccer ball cage. So it was theorized that we could take radioactive atoms, and they would have to be present while you're manufacturing the ball so that they could be physically trapped inside of it. And then you could actually attach some proteins to the exterior of the ball such that it would attach to cancer cells, very specific cells, namely cancer cells. And then that has the potential to deliver a radioactive payload directly to cancer cells. And that's, that has a lot of medical applications if and when that can be accomplished. Right now, you're really dealing with a nanomaterial to manufacture it with any sort of other material inside of it. And, we've sold those, we've separated those, but those are very one-off and extremely expensive experiments that we've done. And in general, it's just so cost prohibitive that it's not on the table. And then you fast forward, sometimes I tell the story, hey, I'm going to talk to you about a supplement, and the first things I'm going to say are going to scare you. And then you're going to get scared even worse. And then you're going to understand what's going on. Right. And so the first things that you would say about a supplement, this particular one, right, this ESS60 molecule, is it's great in ink, batteries, tires, and photocells. It's an amazing material. And I think we could all agree that in general, we don't think of our supplements as being great in ink, battery, tires, and photocells. That makes us go, okay, that's probably not something I'm going to try. And then the next thing is the scientists in the know thought that it was going to be toxic, right? So that's where the story gets even worse. And then it does an absolute one about face when you look at the results of that study. So they did do a toxicity study. And in that toxicity study, the rats that they gave the C60 Evo formula to lived 90% longer than the control group. So it really is the opposite, the extreme opposite of toxicity, right? The original Wistar rats, that's the rats that they used in this study, that were the control rats, were given water. All of them were dead right around month 32. And if there's ever one thing that can be true, it's that if all of the control group are dead and all of the quote unquote toxic group are still alive, you're definitely not toxic. In fact, you could end your experiment there and with 100% conviction say, in this experiment, that was not toxic. And I always like to give props to the researchers who continued to do the animal husbandry for another 30 months to carry out this, what turns out to be a longevity experiment, because they could have ended it right at month 32. They carried it out to month 62. In fact, there were 2 rats there at the end. One of them passed. They're, more than probably 3 years past the estimated time of this study, because they actually thought it would be toxic. So they could have published their results as soon as the toxic rats died, right? That's what a toxicity study usually looks like. And here we are, at least 3 years, or right at about 3 years after they were expecting to finish the study. One of the rats dies, they euthanize the other one, and now they publish their results. I'm proud to announce we actually are working with the original professor is Fathi Musa, and we're working on publishing some kind of very standardized toxicity studies. These are basic tests that need to be done by us in order to go ahead and recreate that initial study, which is something that we've committed to.
Not
Very, very
only did they live longer, but they died without tumors, which is really important because Wistar rats typically grow tumors. When they're tested in different ways, the longer they live, the bigger the tumors. These rats died without any tumors, which reminds me, and again, we're not making any medical claims, but last week we had a customer purchase dozens of bottles, and it was the third or fourth time. And I thought, wonder who they are. I'm, as the CEO, I like to check in and be respectful to good customers. And so I said, hi, Patty Greer here. Curious how you're selling so many bottles. And he said, well, we are doctors. We've got a clinic and we have it on the basic protocol for 4th stage cancer, which is most of our clients.
Whoa.
So again, I'm not making any claims, but it was their choice to put it in their daily protocol to help their customers, their patients. And I would imagine there's a reason, and their doctors. So, it is getting out. It's kind of like the CBD was 10 years ago for pain. It was kind of the hush hush, because it was like pot or something, but it wasn't. It was CBD. It was a whole different plant and a whole different purpose. So now we've got C60 and C60, which Chris was starting to talk about for all those industrial purposes, has a range of qualities, varieties, cleanliness, and purpose. But in the last 3 years that Chris and I have been working together with Robert and the lab, we have upgraded the processing, the manufacturing of the C60 to be pure, clean, immaculate C60 ESS60. And that's why we called the company the evolution, the EVO of the C60 industry. There's all these varieties which you can make tires out of. No, thank you for me to take or to give to my kitty or dog. So, there's only one lab in the world that's been manufacturing it, that invented the machine, and that's making pure C60. I don't know about the other labs, garage, basement, or perhaps there's a fabulous lab that we haven't heard about yet. I've always said to Chris, let's throw a contest called Show Me Your Lab, because ours we're really proud of. And it's huge. Everything in it is huge and immaculate. And that's why our products have come out like this. But yeah, I think that there's an evolution going on in every field of medicine, and it's really nice when we can bring them to the public. And I think audiences are lucky when they get wind of the good things that are upcoming. C60, pure form, ESS60, upcoming.
Now, here comes the question, and that is, people are watching this and they're tuning in. What's their next step? They say, yep, I want it. Where should they go?
Go to our website, C60Evo.com. Go to store or shop, and it's pretty fun. We took a lot of time putting together the store. We have a lineup of products. Like I said, we have the 3 flavors of oil, and you can buy 2 ounce, 4 ounce, 8 ounce, 16 ounce, and 32 ounce jugs of ESS60. It's not a jug, but it's a good sized bottle, for groups of people. And for some people that don't like the taste of oil, we have capsules, and we do it in the olive oil only because it's the strongest. So capsules, 3 flavors of oil. We also have the facial serum, and very soon we're going to have the 2-part day serum with the copper peptide, but we don't have it quite yet. And again, this is going to be for night. This is going to be for day. You want to have maximized, amazing, youthful skin? This is going to be quite the combination. We also have a lip renewal balm, 2 of them, mint and unflavored, and they're really luscious. They keep your lips really moist. They're infused with the ESS60, and the mint one, you can smell it. Oh, you can taste it. It's really minty, and it lasts, and it has a taste. It's just delicious. Our joke is try not to lick it too much. And it comes in these little boxes. Everything that we sell comes in a really nice, like gift wrap. They're all wrapped in different colored tissues, really perfectly, little boxes. So, if you want to get a gift for somebody, it's kind of an easy website to come shop on. All the products can be mixed into inside and out sets, which we offer, and you save 10 to 12% buying 2 or 3 pieces at a time. We have the inside and out 4-ounce, which is the ESS60 and the olive oil and the facial serum. We also do it with the lip renewal. So it's inside and out and lips. You get 2 of these also with the face and the inside oil. We also do it with the capsules, inside and out and lips, or inside and out. But you'll save money that way. If you sign up for a monthly subscription, you'll save 20% off whatever you order, comes every month. And if you change your mind and you don't want it, you just call us on the phone, send us an email, and we cancel you right away until you call us again if you decide you want to do it again. Our customer service and shipping department is really excellent. Our testimonials, I read them once a week when I do our postings for the company, and just check up on the testimonials, and they're always raving about the shipping or if they need customer service. Our people are really helpful. So we also sell cases at 25% off if you buy 12 bottles. And then we have a dog formula, which is the olive oil seasoned with a bacon essence, natural bacon essence. And we have C60 Evo for cats, which is seasoned with the salmon essence. It's subtle, but cats ask for it. They love it. So again, if you want to do the cat lover set, it's a bottle for you, bottle for your cat, dog lover set, and you save money. So as you go through the store, you'll realize that there's really nice discounts. But when you finally go to check out at the end, one more trick is to keep Alfred's code handy, which is our initials and his initials will get you another 10% off. That's EV as in Evo, ALW, Alfred Lambermont Weber. So ALW, starting with EV, ALW. And if you put that in the code box, you'll save another 10%, no matter how much you've already saved. So, a lot of people, they think, oh my God, a little bottle's $95. Well, if you knew how much real C60 is in here and how pure it is, you're getting your money's worth. But if you do it on a subscription, it's only $75. And if you don't love it within whatever time you get it, cancel your subscription and you still save 20%. So it's kind of nice to sign up because it just comes automatically. And if you decide you're not using it up quick enough, we can do it every other month. If you want to buy bigger bottles, we can do every 3rd month. We're really flexible. Computers are flexible. What we type in, they listen to. So we work with everybody that wants to do a subscription their way, but most people just do it monthly. So I'm going to say 1 to 2 weeks, we're going to have our new youth renewal facial serum, the twin set. And I'm in my late 60s. And I'm getting younger. My skin is definitely getting younger. Chris looks like a 30-year-old, no matter what day of the week it is. He's always slapping on the facial serum. It was really funny. He always says, oh, Patty, push me. It's like, I didn't have to push very far. And I don't think anybody really pushes Chris Burres.
So one way, this is probably pushing the envelope, but I'll just say it, and with the FDA qualification. And that is another thing, another category that C60 Evo ESS60 might fit in is life enhancement. They're life enhancers. But that's kind of a cloudy thing, but that's what it does. I mean, I'm just thinking of adjectives and words that I think of as a consumer for what it does for me. It enhances the quality of my life.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And that's a life extender.
Yeah.
Life extender.
Extended the life for me.
Yeah.
And that's often not the case with a supplement, right? Like we kind of know we need to, if we're under the weather, we need to take a little bit of vitamin C, or maybe our doctor says we need some B12 or some, K has certainly been and D have certainly been in the news recently. But those you usually don't feel them, right? Like you take them and you don't notice a difference. And I know, Alfred, you were on the product for a while, kind of opted to get off of it, noticed a dramatic difference, and then got
Yes.
back on it. I don't know if you want
Right.
to talk about that a little bit, because that's where like maybe I'm not noticing that much up front. And then when I go off of it, that's when I really notice the big difference.
Yeah, yeah. It was like all of a sudden I have to use almost poetic terms. My life velocity sort of slowed down, and I just wasn't with the same warp speed. I don't know, the same velocity and accomplishment and energy, life energy. Doing tasks and keeping things going. I mean, people in my profession, which I'm constantly doing things and getting things done, both as a broadcaster, but as a judge and as an author, all these different things. We just have to try to go out and affect the fabric of the earth and keep it kind of positively going. I mean, that's our wish and our hope, but this sure helps.
Wonderful. Well, we're really glad to be working with you. You and I have been doing shows for, I think I'm guessing 15 years. We used to talk about crop circles and UFOs and UFO field, and then we watched it kind of fade away and get infiltrated. And then we kind of watched a lot of people die in a short period of time. And then you and I were tested, you're gonna die. And we didn't.
Yep.
Yay. So I feel like a survivor, for me, I think that this has been my lifeline, is the C60 Evo. And not all C60s created equal. There's a lot of different places you can get it, but show me your lab. Show me the HPLC test to show me that there's that much ESS 60, pure C60, or at least industrial grade C60 in the bottle. A lot of them don't have what the labels say, but again, you don't have to worry about that when you're buying from a real lab, especially one that's been in business 30 years and only getting better with age.
Good. So, well, I think we're hitting the 45-minute mark here, which I think is sort of an ideal time to remind our viewers to go to C60Evo.com. And I always try and tell them to go on subscription, because they can get that package where they get 20%. And by using EVALW, that's an extra 10% coming in. And that brings it down to $75. And the benefits are just so great. I mean, you're going to end up just really, all the long-term benefits are just incalculable.
Now, just make sure that you go to C60Evo.com/Alfred W. That's really important.
Okay.
And so it's C60Evo.com/Alfred W. I'm sorry, it's Alfred LW. So Alfred LW. And I'm actually going to, that pulled up properly. Yeah. You want to do that because that's how we track and make sure that we keep supporting your show. So C60Evo.com/Alfred LW.
Yeah. And we're very grateful. That keeps this channel moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
On an energetic level, I just want to say that when I was looking away from the camera, a golden eagle flew over.
Oh, cool.
Well,
and I feel like they come over. I see them out my window at special times. And I think that this is a pretty special time because after all the time we've worked together, to see the three of us being healthier than we've been and, being tested by a world that's just full of full of all kinds of gifts and challenges. I'd say that we have really evolved nicely, the three of us, staying strong, staying grounded. And that's one more thing about C60 Evo is the emotional grounding is pretty remarkable, as well as deeper sleep. Almost all of our testimonials, like they say, I sleep so much deeper. What I found was as soon as I shifted to the MCT coconut instead of the olive oil, I slept deeper, but I could all of a sudden remember my dreams. Now that might be just me, but somebody else said it. Then when they started putting it in their coffee, that at night they would, dream heavily and then wake up in the morning and be amazed. So hopefully all of us can be amazed in our own special ways, stay really well, and keep healing.
Amen.
Thank you, Alfred.
Well, thank you. And thank you, Chris. And thank you, C60 Evo. Thank you.
And thank you, audience, for hanging with us.
Indeed.